Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I'm Cadet Juben Carlo and I will report the Part C Light and Shape. Rule number 20, Application. The rules in this part shall be complied with in all weathers. The rules concerning light shall be complied and during such times no other light shall be exhibited. The rules concerning shapes shall be complied by day. The lights and shapes specified in this rule shall comply the provisions of the Annex 1 regulations. Next is Rule number 21, Definition. Masthead light means a white light placed over the fore and aft center line of the vessel. Next is side lights, means a green light on the starboard side and the red light on the port side. Next is stern light, means a white light placed as nearly as practicable at the stern. Next is towing light, means a yellow light having the same characteristics as the stern light. Next is all-round light, means a light showing an unbroken light over an arc of the horizon of 360 degrees. And the last is flashing lights, means a light flashing at irregular intervals at a frequency of 120 flashes or more per minute. Thank you.
I am Cadet De Leon Jacob M from BS MTS1 Alpha. So for this video, I will give to you the content of the two rules, which are the rule number 22, visibility of lights, and rule number 23, power-driven vessels underway, from the Convention on the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea 1972. So let's start with rule number 22, or visibility of lights. So the lights prescribed in these rules shall have an intensity as specified in section number 8, annex number 1 to this regulation, so as to be visible at the following minimum ranges. So in this rule, all you have to remember is the lights that is required in what is the length of your vessel, or for example, it is 50 meters in length, or more than 50 meters, or less than 50 meters, or a 12 meters vessel, like that. So in vessels of 50 meters or more than in length, a masthead light is required, which is visible in 6 miles, and a side light, a stern light, a towing light, which are visible in 3 miles, and a white, red, green, or yellow all-round light, which is visible in 3 miles. So in vessels of 12 meters or more in length but less than 50 meters in length, a masthead in light, which is 5 miles visible, except that where the length of the vessel is less than 20 meters, which is 3 miles visible. A side light, a stern light, towing light, and a white, red, green, or yellow all-round light, which are visible in 2 miles. In vessels of less than 12 meters in length, the vessel must require a masthead light, which is visible in 2 miles, a side light, which is visible in 1 mile, and a stern light, towing light, and a white, red, green, or yellow all-round light, which are visible in 2 miles. In inconspicuous, partly submerged vessels or objects being towed, a white all-round light, which is visible in 3 miles. So that is all the content of the rule number 22, or visibility of lights. So let's proceed to rule number 23, which is the power-driven vessels underway. So in a power-driven vessels underway, all you have to remember is this: the power-driven vessels more than 50 meters must have a 2 mast headlights, a side lights, which is the port side light and the side add starboard side light, which is the starboard side light is color green, and the port side light is color red. So a stern lights. Next is power driven vessels less than 50 meters. So it must have one masthead light, which is in the forward part of the vessel, and a side lights and a stern light. So in a air cushion or hovercraft, or all around flashing yellow light is required. In WIG, wing in ground craft, all round flashing red light is required. So don't be confused in those two things. In these two craft. In air cushion, yellow, and in WIG is red. So vessel less than 12 meters, all round white light, a masthead and a stern light, and of course the side lights. So vessels less than 7 meters, all round white light, and a masthead light plus stern light is required. So that's all for the rule number 23 of the power driven vessels underway. So that is all about the two rules. Thank you.
Rule number 24, towing and pushing. Rule number 24 talks about what are the shapes and lights that you will encounter when a vessel is towing or pushing another vessel. Just by looking at the lights and shapes, you can determine the length of the vessel and the restrictions that you need to consider and the actions that needed to be taken when you encounter that kind of situation. Shapes and lights that they need to shown during day or night are also different. So we need to determine what are the lights and shapes that from the sailing vessel and from those or from the under oars in order for us not to have that confusion. So this is the first situation. If this vessel that is towing another vessel is more than 50 meters, she is required or obliged to have a secondary masthead light. And then, if the tow is more than 200 meters from the stern of the vessel towing to the vessel being towed, this vessel should have 3 mast headlights in vertical position. In addition, both vessel is again required to have their side lights. If this vessel is less than 50 meters, she is not required to have a secondary mast headlight. And as you can see, she has still 3 mast headlights in vertical position, meaning her tow from her stern to the stern of the other vessel is more than 200 meters. During daytime, the shape that needs to be shown is a black diamond. Black diamond shape is only applicable when the tow is more than 200 meters. If the tow is less than 200 meters, the black diamond shape is not required to be shown during daytime. This is the second example. So as you can see, there are only 2 mast headlight vertically aligned, meaning the tow is less than 200 meters from this stern up to this stern. And then there are no secondary masthead light, meaning this vessel is less than 50 meters. And side lights are both present. Rule number 25. Sailing vessels underway and vessels under oars. So, rule number 25, sailing vessels underway and vessel under oars. So, sailing vessel underway, the lights that she needs to have is her side lights, the port side lights and the starboard side lights. During daytime, the shape that sailing vessel underway needs to show is a conical shape with apex downwards, like this one. Times sailing vessel underway can also show this kind of lights. It is vertically aligned, red being at the top and green being at the bottom, and then the two side lights. Even if you use this kind of light arrangement during night, during daytime, the shape that you need to show will still be the conical shape with apex downwards, like this one. If the sailing vessel is less than 7 meters, she is not required to have her side lights. Instead, you need to have an electric torch showing white light. During daytime, the shape is the same, the conical shape with apex downwards. When it comes to vessel under oar, there are no shapes required during daytime, and the only requirement is an electric torch showing white light.
Good day. I'm Cadet Stock of BSMTS1 Alpha, and I'm here to discuss Rule 26 of the Colreg, which is the fishing vessel. So I made an illustration here. So let's start with the vessel engaged in trawling, making way through the water, and the vessel is more than 50 meters. In daylight, she shall exhibit two conical shape in vertical position with apexes together. In nighttime, she'll exhibit lights, an all-round green and white lights in vertical position, plus side lights, plus masthead light, and last is the stern light. So at night, this is the lights that you will see if there's a vessel engaged in trawling, making way through the water, and the vessel is more than 50 meters. Now let's move to vessel engaged in trawling, not making way through the water, and the vessel is less than 50 meters. The shape is similar. She will use the two conical shape in vertical position with apexes together, and at night, the lights are all around green and white lights in vertical position. So that's the lights and shapes in vessel engaged in trawling, not making way through the water, and the vessel is less than 50 meters. So let's move to the vessel engaged in fishing other than trawling, making way through the water with a flying gear extending more than 150 meters. So in daytime, she will exhibit these shapes, which is two conical shape in vertical position with apexes together and a conical shape apex upward. At night, the vessel shall exhibit all round red over white, all round red over white, plus side lights, plus stern lights, and another all around white light. So let's move to the vessel engaged in fishing other than trawling, not making way through the water, without lying gear extending less than 150 meters. So in shapes, the vessel shall exhibit two conical shape in vertical position with apexes together. And the lights at night, the vessel shall exhibit all round red over white light. Like this. So that is the lights and shapes in vessel engaged in fishing other than trawling, not making way through the water without lying gear extending less than 150 meters. So those are the lights and shapes based on the Rule 26 of Colreg, which is the fishing vessel. Thank you.
So we have the next rule, which is the rule number 27: vessels not under command or restricted in their ability to maneuver. So a vessel not under command must have two all-round red lights in a vertical line where they can best be seen, two balls or similar shapes in vertical line, and when the vessel is making to the water, it must have side lights and a stern light. So next is a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver, except the vessel engaged in mine clearance operations. This kind of vessel must have three all-round lights in a vertical line where they can best be seen. The highest and lowest of these lights shall be red and the middle light shall be white. So three shapes in a vertical line where they can best be seen, and the highest and lowest of these shapes shall be balls and the middle one a diamond. When making way to the water, a masthead light or lights, side lights and a stern light addition to the lights prescribed in subparagraph. So when at anchor, in addition to the lights or shapes prescribed in subparagraphs, and the lights or shapes prescribed in Rule 30. So power-driven vessels engage in towing operations such as severely restricts the towing vessels and her tow in their ability to deviate from their course shall, in addition to the lights or shapes prescribed in Rule 24, exhibit the lights or shapes prescribed in subparagraphs B, 1 and 2 of this rule. So a vessel engaged in dredging or underwater operations when restricted in their ability to maneuver shall exhibit the lights and shapes prescribed in subparagraphs B 1, 2, and 3 of this rule, and shall in addition, when an obstruction exists. So this kind of vessel must have two all-round red lights or two balls in a vertical line to indicate the side on which the obstruction exists, and two all-round green lights or two diamonds in a vertical line to indicate the side on which another vessel may pass. When at anchor, the lights or shapes prescribed in this paragraph instead of lights or shapes prescribed in Rule 30. So whenever the size of a vessel engaged in diving operations make it impracticable to exhibit all lights and shapes. So when this kind of situation of a vessel, it must have three all-round lights in vertical line where they can best be seen. The highest and lowest of these lights shall be red and the middle light shall be white. A rigid replica of the International Code Flag A, not less than 1 meter in height, because measures shall be taken to ensure its all-round visibility. So a vessel engaged in mine clearance operations shall, in addition to the lights prescribed for a power-driven vessel in Rule 23, or the lights or shapes prescribed for a vessel at anchor in Rule 30 as appropriate, exhibit three all-round green lights or three balls. One of the lights or shapes shall be exhibited near the foremost head, and one at each end of the foreyard. These lights or shapes indicate that it is dangerous for another vessel to approach within 1,000 meters of the mine clearance vessel. So for a vessel of less than 12 meters in length, except those engaged in diving operation, shall not be required to exhibit lights and shapes prescribed in this rule. So that is all the content of the rule number 27, or the vessels not under command or restrict in their ability to maneuver.
Rule 28. Vessels constrained by their draft. Vessel constrained by their draft is caused by uneven distribution of cargoes, etc. It is also a power-driven vessel. So with the compliance with Rule 23, putting a proper masthead lights together with side lights and stern light in vessels constrained by their draft, you will just add three all-round red lights in vertical position during nighttime. While during daytime, you will just see a black cylinder. And this is how they look like. With that, it is easy for you to distinguish if it is a vessel constrained by their draft during nighttime and daytime. Rule 29. Pilot vessels. Pilot vessel carries the pilot, who is knowledgeable person about the port and guides the vessel in going in and out of the port. During nighttime, you will distinguish if it is a pilot vessel when you see a two all-round white over red lights in vertical position, and an addition of side lights and stern light when he is underway. And always remember that pilot vessels does not require to have a masthead light. And this how it look like. While during daytime,
Pilot vessel does not require to have a shape. Thus, it is obvious that it is a pilot vessel because of the printed word pilot on the vessel itself.
Good day. I'm Cadet Ustako of BSMTS1 Alpha, and I'm here to discuss the Rule 30 of Colreg, or the anchored vessel and vessel aground. So let's start with the anchored vessel. So in Rule 30, I will start with the vessel less than, which is this. Vessel less than 50 meters shall exhibit one all-round white light at night. Then in daytime, she will exhibit one ball. Now, let's move with the vessel more than 50 meters. In vessel more than 50 meters, it should have two all-round white lights found in the forepart, and the other one is in the stern. And in the vessel more than 50 meters, the all-round white lights in stern must be lower than the all-round white lights in the forepart. And then if your vessel is 100 meters, more than 100 meters, the vessel should have working lights, or available working lights. Now, let's move to the vessel less than 7 meters. In anchored vessel. Vessel less than 7 meters is not required to exhibit lights and shape. Now let's move to the vessel aground. We will start again with the vessel less than 50 meters. In vessel less than 50 meters, she shall exhibit an all-round white lights where it can be seen. All-round white lights. And two all-round red lights in vertical position. So let's move it here. Yeah. And in the daytime or daylight, she shall exhibit three balls in vertical position. Like that. Now, let's move to vessel more than 50 meters. In vessel more than 50 meters, she shall exhibit two all-round white lights in forepart and in stern. So, we will have an all-round white here and an all-round white light here. And in vessel more than 50 meters, the vessel shall exhibit two all-round red lights in vertical position. And again, in daylight, the vessel shall exhibit three balls in vertical position. In vessel aground, vessel less than 12 meters is not required to show lights or shapes. Good day. I'm Cadet Stock BSMTS1 Alpha, and I'm here to discuss Rule 31 of Colreg, which is the seaplane. So I make an illustration. In Rule 31, it stated that where it is impracticable for a seaplane or a wing craft to exhibit lights and shape of a characteristic or in the position prescribed in the rules of this part, she shall exhibit lights and shape as closely similar in the characteristic and position as is possible. In Rule 31 seaplanes, the seaplane must have side lights, which is the port and starboard side lights, and forward facing masthead light, which is this. Side lights and a forward facing masthead light. So that is my explanation about the Rule 31 of the Colreg, which is the seaplane. Thank you.